They had no right to take my daughter away from me. And the way it happened, I will never see her again. I can't even see her now. Just one more time to say goodbye. I want everyone that was involved in this to be punished to the fullest extent.
On November 9th, 2015, around 9 a.m., a squirrel hunter made a horrifying discovery in the Talladega National Forest in Brent, Alabama. A woman's naked and mutilated body was found tied to a tree. Law enforcement officers responded immediately and launched an investigation. As they began to identify the victim, they received a missing persons report from Tuscaloosa County for 29-year-old Samantha Payne, confirming her as the victim. Initially, it seemed like Samantha might have been the victim of a ritualistic sacrifice, but further investigation revealed a darker and more sinister story. Was she truly the victim of a ritual, or was there a sadistic killer at large? Today, we delve into the unsettling case of Samantha Payne in Tuscaloosa County, Alabama. Our focus shifts to Tuscaloosa County in western Alabama, a hub of commerce, education, and industry in the state. With a population of 227,000, it ranks as the fifth most populous county in Alabama. Situated amidst the Appalachian Mountains and the southern Gulf Coastal Plain, Tuscaloosa County boasts diverse geography and protected wilderness areas. It's also home to the esteemed University of Alabama, a prominent institution and major employer in the region. Like many counties of its size, Tuscaloosa County experiences its share of crime. But by 2023, law enforcement efforts had contributed to a notable decrease in the crime rate. However, in the autumn of 2015, Tuscaloosa County was rocked by a gruesome murder that shook the community to its core. At 9 a.m. on Monday, November 9th, 2015, a squirrel hunter named Jeffrey Allen was traversing the Talladega National Forest south of Tuscaloosa County. Near South Sandy Road, he stumbled upon a chilling scene: the lifeless, mutilated body of a woman tied to a tree with barbed wire, her head lying roughly 14 feet away. Jeffrey immediately contacted the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, prompting a swift response from deputies. The brutality of the crime deeply disturbed investigators. The condition of the woman's body indicated severe beatings and mutilation, with evident signs of advanced decay. This made it challenging for authorities to identify her. Both the body and the detached head were transported to the Tuscaloosa County Medical Examiner's office. Investigators meticulously searched the area, hoping to unravel the disturbing incident. Initially, the scene suggested a ritualistic sacrifice by a cult, but the absence of altars or symbolic markings led investigators to dismiss this theory. Despite thorough examination, the crime scene yielded no clues. There were no tire tracks, drag marks, personal belongings, identification documents, or clothing near the body. Due to the lack of evidence, investigators considered an alternate hypothesis. The victim might have been assaulted elsewhere and then moved to the forest for disposal. They were perplexed by the absence of forensic clues. However, unexpected breakthroughs emerged at the sheriff's office. On the same day, investigators learned of a missing persons report for a local woman named Samantha Payne, age 29. Her mother, Suzanne Payne, last saw her daughter on October 30th, 2015. There was a strong suspicion that the victim could be Samantha, but the state of decomposition hindered facial recognition. Confirmation of the victim's identity depended on the coroner's report. Dr. Stephen Dunton conducted the autopsy, facing challenges in identifying the victim and determining the cause of death. The remains showed extensive injuries, including 4 broken ribs, numerous lacerations, missing fingernails, toenails, teeth, and internal organs. While unable to ascertain whether the organs were removed by the perpetrator or scavenged by animals, the manner of death indicated homicide. DNA extracted from the body was sent for testing against Samantha's family members. Meanwhile, a sheriff's deputy from neighboring Hale County reported finding an abandoned vehicle along South Sandy Road near the Talladega National Forest about 10 days earlier. When the deputy investigated, he encountered a couple walking along the roadside, identified as 27-year-old Stephen George and 18-year-old Chile Bruce. They claimed they had run out of gas and had to abandon their vehicle. However, the deputy noticed blood on their clothes and discovered they were carrying crystal meth. Subsequently, Stephen and Chile were arrested for drug possession and detained at Hale County Jail. On the morning of November 10, 2015, investigators from the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office visited Stephen and Chile at Hale County Jail. They confirmed knowing Samantha Payne and admitted to their involvement in her death. However, they denied responsibility for killing her, implicating their friend, 31-year-old Michael David Belcher, instead. Chile revealed that Michael and Samantha had a prior relationship and that he had planned to kill her after she threatened to report him to the police for stealing her car on November 1, 2015. Additionally, Chile disclosed that the car they abandoned near Talladega National Forest belonged to Michael and contained evidence linking him to the murder. While Chile's statement provided a lead, her cryptic responses hinted at more to the story. Stephen and Chile were transferred to Tuscaloosa Sheriff's County Jail, charged with serious offenses and held without bail. Michael's car, impounded in Hale County, was transferred to the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, confirming their suspect's claims. Meanwhile, preparations were made to inform Samantha's family of her tragic death. Samantha Christine Payne, born on October 30, 1986 in Dallas County, Alabama, grew up in a loving family. Despite her kind-hearted nature, Samantha fell into the wrong crowd in her mid-20s, experimenting with crystal meth. Despite her parents' persistent efforts to help her overcome her addiction, Samantha remained entangled with her questionable group of friends. Investigators spoke with the distressed parents about the last time they saw Samantha alive. According to Suzanne, Samantha left for a Halloween party on the night of October 30th, 2015, coincidentally her 29th birthday. Based on information provided by Chile and Stephen, an arrest warrant was issued for Michael Vuer on November 11, 2015. Despite being brought in for questioning at the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, Michael was uncooperative from the outset, denying any knowledge of Samantha's whereabouts or involvement in her murder. However, the investigation took a new turn when Stephen and Chile confessed to witnessing Michael kill Samantha. Subsequently, investigators offered them a plea deal in exchange for testifying against Michael. According to Chile and Stephen's recollection, on Halloween night, they, along with Michael and Samantha, continued their drug-fueled party into the next day at a motorcycle repair shop owned by Michael's father. Samantha's car was stolen by the men while she was unaware. When she discovered the theft and threatened to involve the police, Michael violently attacked her, leading to further torment and eventual murder. Knowing they couldn't retrieve Samantha's burned car and fearing legal repercussions, Michael subjected her to brutal physical assault before driving her around aimlessly for hours. The group eventually took her to Michael's house, where they continued their assault, ultimately leading to Samantha's death in the forest, where they tied her to a tree using barbed wire. Chile recounted the harrowing experience endured by Samantha, who pleaded for mercy and offered forgiveness as she was subjected to horrific torture. Despite her pleas, her tormentors, driven by cruelty, ignored her appeals. Elisa and Chile, in an attempt to erase any DNA evidence, forcibly removed Samantha's fingernails and toenails with a knife and even extracted some of her teeth using pliers. Throughout the ordeal, Samantha expressed love and forgiveness, but her suffering continued. Eventually, Michael began cutting Samantha's body before fatally slashing her throat. The detailed account provided by Chile and Stephen deeply disturbed investigators, who were determined to seek justice for Samantha. Search warrants were executed for Michael's home and car, where evidence corroborating the witnesses' statements was discovered. DNA tests confirmed Samantha's identity, linking her to the body found in the forest. Subsequent arrests were made, with Elisa and Marcus facing charges consistent with the statements provided by Chile and Stephen. Samantha's burned car as described by Stephen, was recovered. Despite continued denial from Michael, accumulating evidence led to his arrest and capital murder charges. His mother's advice to be truthful and care for his cat during his imprisonment highlighted the gravity of the situation. While Chile and Stephen accepted plea deals in exchange for testimony against Michael, he unsuccessfully sought a similar deal. Prosecutors, aiming for maximum punishment, refused his request. Elisa and Marcus, meanwhile, maintained their innocence and rejected plea deals, eventually being released from jail after making their bond on December 22, 2015. Judge Jim Gwynn determined that there was sufficient evidence to detain Michael Belcher, Chile Bruce, and Stephen George in jail and proceed with their cases in front of a grand jury. Following a court session where gruesome details of Samantha Payne's murder were presented, a judge concluded that there was probable cause to keep the 3 individuals charged with capital murder in custody. Additionally, during the same hearing, it was decided that Alyssa Watson and Marcus George would also have their cases heard by a grand jury. Investigators asserted that Alyssa Watson and Marcus George were implicated in the crime and were charged with kidnapping. The case was forwarded to a grand jury for further proceedings. On January 15, 2016, 18-year-old Chile Bruce pleaded guilty to the murder charge and received a 20-year prison sentence. As part of her plea agreement, she could be eligible for parole after serving 5 years, and she was ordered to undergo drug rehabilitation through the Alabama Therapeutic Education Facility program. The trials of Alyssa Watson and Marcus George commenced in November 2018 after they rejected plea deals offered by the prosecution and pleaded not guilty. Despite their claims of innocence, they were found guilty of first-degree kidnapping and felony murder based on testimony from Chile and cell phone location data, placing them at the crime scene. They each received a 30-year prison sentence for each charge, although the conviction for first-degree kidnapping was later vacated by the Alabama Court of Appeals. During their trial, Alyssa's impending childbirth and Marcus's role as a young father were highlighted by their families in plea for leniency. Although Alyssa chose not to speak, Marcus apologized to Samantha's family and expressed remorse for his actions. However, Suzanne Payne, Samantha's mother, described them as irredeemable in her statement to the jury. Alyssa and Marcus are currently serving their sentences with a release date set for 2048. In March 2019, the trial for Chile, Stephen, and Michael Belcher began. Chile had already pleaded guilty prior to the trial. Shortly after proceedings began, Stephen also pleaded guilty to Samantha's murder and provided testimony aligning with Chile's account. However, the jury believed he played a significant role in Samantha's death. Stephen, who initially proposed stealing the car, instigated the entire crime, leading to his conviction despite the possibility of a reduced sentence. He received a life sentence, narrowly avoiding the death penalty through a plea deal. Next, Michael Belcher faced trial, with the prosecution portraying him as the leader of the group. Drawing from testimonies by Chile and Stephen, the prosecution argued that Michael had premeditated Samantha's murder after the car theft, driven by drug-induced paranoia. On April 3, 2019, Judge Brad Alond sentenced Michael to death by lethal injection based on the jury's recommendation. Despite expressing remorse during sentencing, Samantha's mother, Suzanne, remained skeptical of Michael's sincerity. Chile, who will be released on probation in late 2023 at the age of 26, and Stephen, serving a life sentence, are both incarcerated, while Michael awaits execution on death row at Hammond Aftermath Prison. For Samantha's family, the pain of her loss remains profound. Suzanne has become an advocate for her daughter, ensuring Samantha's memory endures. She vividly recalls Samantha's warmth and optimism, lamenting the void left by her absence every Halloween, which also marks Samantha's birthday, the last day they saw her alive. Suzanne is committed to preserving Samantha's legacy, vowing to share her story tirelessly. This case underscores the peril of trusting individuals with ulterior motives. Samantha's trusting nature made her vulnerable, ultimately exploited by her assailants. Reflecting on the remorse shown by Samantha's killers and the justice served, we invite your thoughts and opinions in the comments section.